Hello everybody, welcome back to Screen Stars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2020 horror film, I guess, Tar. A film that is co-written and directed by Aaron Wolf, who also stars in the film, as well as Timothy Bottoms, Graham Greene, Emily Peachy, Max Perlish and Tiffany Shepis. Now this film focuses on Aaron Wolf's character Zach, his friend and his father that work in some kind of unit somewhere that's close to the tar pits, and we are greeted at the beginning by a pretty impressive narrative opening that is narrated over by Graham Greene, who sits next to the tar pits and tells stories about the history of the tar pits and all this kind of stuff. And there is some evil creature lurking deep within this tar pit. And that's essentially what happens. So they're having to leave this warehouse stroke unit where they work. They're packing up all the boxes. Zach and his dad and his friend and other people within the building. And there's like a power outage, and his tar creature has risen, and it's up for them to try and survive the night from this sticky, vengeful creature. Right, so what are my thoughts on Tar? Well, I thought the setup here was pretty good. Like I say, I really enjoyed the opening narrative by Graham Greene. It was almost like a narrative, an animated narrative at the beginning, and it set it up really, really nicely. So I was looking forward to the rest of the film, but unfortunately, much of the rest of the film kind of falls into the paint by numbers category to some degree. The first maybe hour of the film is fairly slow paced. I think they could have used this time to really expand on this, this lore of this creature and all this kind of stuff. I mean, they set it up really, really nicely at the beginning. You get a couple of moments, leading up to the real conflict of the film where you're teased about this creature, and you don't see a lot here and there, just a bit of tar flowing along and people getting it on their hands and faces, and then the obvious screams that you're going to hear. But I just don't think after the original narrative they took advantage of that, personally. There's a number of characters in the film that are just there for canon fodder, basically. There's quite a few of them. Some of them unlikable. And you just know, really, I mean, you can't remember the faces, the names to go with the faces for 90% of the characters here. So you know that they're canon fodder, really. And the fact that, I mean, there's so many plot holes here. I mean, the lights go out, they know there's something wrong, so many of there's a few of them grouped up in a room, and none of them have got a phone between them. One of them does, but it's busted to heck and it won't work. Nobody else has got a phone. Oh, I've left mine in the other unit, and oh, where's my? Oh, I don't use them. Technology doesn't work for me. And you just think, oh, come on. Anybody would have a phone. You know what I mean? It just seemed a little bit too convenient, and it was typical run-of-the-mill horror, walking through buildings with torches looking for this, that and the other, and the predictable jump scares that aren't the tar creature popping up here and there, and the usual, well, they're going to get it, wandering off on their own sort of thing, and they're doomed basically to get what's coming to them, maybe to some degree. And there's a weird layer of humour that goes through this thing that just doesn't work, and it doesn't suit this film. And I think this is one of those films that didn't need to lighten the mood. I thought the setup was so good initially of this creature. I was excited to see this creature and what it was going to do. Ultimately, I was left a little bit disappointed by that, but there's like this weird humour running through it. Certainly by one of the characters, who is like the friend of Zach. it felt like, I don't know, like a Z-list version of the Belushi character from like Animal House, you know, the like 0%, you know, risque version of him, and really stupid at the same time. It didn't work, this humour. It was really, I don't know, it just didn't work for me, the humour. And it's not just that him, there's other aspects of the film that, like, characters that are more comedic than realistic, just don't work and only show up basically to be this caricature comedic character or to get killed. It just didn't work in that sense. And the horror aspects, when they actually get down to that really later in the film, this tar creature turning up and, you know, taking out certain people, and, you know, some of it is actually quite graphic that it does. We needed more of that. We needed more horror ramping up. And Graham Greene, I think it was criminal. Like I say, they used him well to do the original narration at the beginning, and he does show up as a character in the film a couple of times. But he is the very definition of exposition. He sets the film up with a narration, as I've mentioned, and then later on he turns up as well to give more exposition. He is literally just in the film to give exposition, and it's a real waste of someone like Graham Greene, I would suggest. So there are aspects of this that's watchable and okay, and there are other aspects that I don't think work personally. So I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. It's right down the middle. I think it could have been so much better, but there's too much of it for me that just doesn't work at the same time. So it's fairly unbalanced. So that is my review for Tar. Hope you liked it. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please like and subscribe. And of course I will see you back with more content and reviews on Screen Stars very, very soon.